Today we're down at Cabarita Beach with Ivan Garcia. In my featured participant post, I said Ivan was 70 years young. And in the short time I've got to know Ivan, he's very enterprising and age doesn't come into it. Ivan, welcome.
Thank you, Andrew.
Enterprising as you mature in your age, it's none different to you, is it? Enterprising's enterprising.
No, it just comes out of yourself, you know. I think that since I was in school, a little guy, I'd be negotiating things and making a little bit of a profit out of this and a little bit of a profit out of that. And then somewhere in my adult life, I got a feeling that I had to do social service, and that was kind of your same self, only in a different field for a different purpose. Not to buy new cars, not to do this and not to do that, but kind of helping the community. And it really opened up my eyes of all the needs, and it just made me a better person working at that level. And I think that an enterprising person, anywhere you put them, they're going to think about business or how to get this together or get that done, opportunities, kind of.
It's like creating something better from your own efforts.
Yeah. If you can connect point A to point B and B to C, and that makes for a better thing for anybody now, glad to do it. Why not? You didn't see that? Yeah, you got to see it.
Good. Well, in the short time I've got to know you, I've heard some of your stories. You grew up in Guatemala and educated in America, and you've been exposed to a lot of countries around the world and a lot of cultures. Enterprise, it sort of transcends all cultures, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So would you like to just maybe share with us and the video here some of your own enterprising instincts in Guatemala that have resonated with you and the audience might appreciate?
Oh, enterprising, let's say in Guatemala, well, let me go back. I've been self-employed for most of my life, and in Guatemala, the biggest enterprise that I've done was borrowing $500 to start a t-shirt factory, and that t-shirt factory way back then was, within a few years, was exporting $1 million. And how do we get from here to here? Well, there was a lot of decisions and enterprising decisions that had to be taken. And you could say it's work, but if you enjoy it, it's not work. It's just part of it. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was great. And, it produced a lot of money. And, of course, money's not that important. You have the people coming into money and going out of money, that the stocks drop or something happens, and so you can't really put all of your personality into that money thing. It's just a plaything in a way.
Sure. Well, what I was keen to share and explore with you a little bit more was, as you're enterprising in Guatemala, you've come to Australia, and we'll touch on, you've adopted 3 kids from Guatemala and brought them here with you and with your Australian partner. But while you're here, you're creating enterprising activities which are then broadening out to other social networks.
Okay. When we came here, we had my wife had an opportunity to work with her sister in events, which means importing and retailing merchandise. And I thought that I could do a parallel thing and maybe manufacture something that would work for her or somehow carry part of the load. And the idea was to recycle without very much investment, just picking up books from the op shops and drilling them and putting plants into them and making them a little bit more ornate so that they would be nice little items to put on your coffee table, and it would be an initial cost of a couple of dollars, and they would sell for $20. So it's a good idea. For us, it wasn't the best idea because the product that she sold better in different types of events. This particular product would sell good in the local events for this area, from Byron Bay up a little bit more, because that's the culture. They would love it. And so it was two types of events. It would kind of detract from each other and things that we're doing. So we got a hold of a lady that you already know, and she runs projects for recycling, and we donated all the tools and equipment necessary to do that, and a few hundred books that we had already accumulated, and now she's got it to work. And it's good because from her viewpoint in her organization, she can get people that need a job or that just want to be busy and as volunteers, and actually this would pay for it. You know, this could pay for kids. Instead of being out in the street, you need a little small job, you know, sure, you can work at this thing, you know, because it does have a labor intensive production, and I'm glad to share it. She's glad to share it, and it's good that it's going to the people that need that sort of activity.
There's a ripple effect of you creating an idea and maybe not running with it, but somebody else running with it. And so the collaborative concept of handballing it over to someone, there's many ideas people have everywhere, and sometimes they're dormant, you know, they're sitting, not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you had the foresight to connect the dot and say, well, hey, what about this?
Well, yes, plus also the social interest that if it didn't work for me, I wasn't going to tear it apart and sell it by pieces, or as a business, I wanted to go to a good cause, let's say. So there's a social consciousness there that's involved, and I think that as long as you have a social consciousness, whatever enterprise you get into, it's going to come back to you.
Awesome.
It's good. If you think of other people or give to other people, the universe gives you everything you need.
That's fantastic. That's a nice segue into your adoption of the 3 kids from Guatemala. They'd obviously be the light of your lives now, but as you experience that giving at that deep level, that must be richly rewarding as an individual.
Yes, Andrew, you know, I had several daughters before this opportunity or this relationship, and we had children that I worked 6 years doing social service with a NGO, a nonprofit, as a volunteer, and directing the NGO. We managed to change it from one community to another community, and now it's still standing, and it's the largest NGO around the area that we lived in. And it's an umbrella for everybody that comes in and wants to do social service with the indigenous Mayan people. But after 6 years, I was a little bit tired of going to meetings and having to deal with just a whole lot of things. I'm more independent, more private. So I gave that up. Plus I ran out of money. And so I gave that up and went back to gainful employment, and I was open to whatever would come my way, our way, with my wife, and immediately almost we got phone calls. Look, we have a child here that hasn't eaten for 2 days. The mother has no milk. They're dirt poor. Would you take it, or else it's going to die? We didn't have an option. Yeah, of course we'll take it. You know, let's go. And that's just the story of one of the children we have, and you think you're doing it for them, but you end up just doing it for yourself. You know, the people say, "Oh, what a lucky kid! Look at that. He's got born under a star or something," and then say, "Well, look, lucky us, because it's a win-win." You know, instead of being a couch potato now, I get up and I do a lot of activities. Take the kids here, do this with the kids, do that with the kids. And yeah, I'm 70 years young, but as I hope to be working and active till the day the good Lord calls me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And maybe just we'll close on a couple of comments. You mentioned about your 6 years with the NGO and branching out with a lot of other groups and creating an umbrella group. Whilst you might have got a bit tired at the end of that, the experience of galvanizing social disciplines into one must have been richly rewarding as well.
Yes, on many levels. Number one is that it was like a political party that we, how would you say, we were a group of NGO leaders that were together fighting for the benefits of the social service we were doing. So we were at a level of politics where we could fight for, let's say, we could fight in case they were trying to tax us on some of this. This we consider it should be duty free because we're giving away. It's not a business, you know. We're caring for people, and politicians maybe are not aware of that, or maybe they just want to get a little bit of the action. But constantly there was a interest in people trying to get into our activities.
Sure.
So yeah, we fought alongside. We're the head of the Red Cross or the Vincent de Paul Society or Sisters of Charity or all of these groups, and they were just beautiful people. What a pleasure to meet them. What a pleasure to work with them. It's probably the nicest part of all of my experiences.
Actually, the nicest part of when you mentioned to me about that before was that there was energy exchanges or goods exchanges or mutual support arrangements where you kept the fires and embers of the giving alive just by being inventive across each other.
Yes, sometimes let's say we had a soup kitchen and we were out of milk. So I would call up a Christian group and say, "Hey, do you have some extra powdered milk? You know, I'll trade you because I have too many sacks of beans. You know, dry beans. Can we do this?" And yeah. And do you know where I can get such and such? And you know, so we would interchange in order to fill the needs. And it was good to have that camaraderie and that ability to do that. So it's good.
That's in the Guatemalan area. I'm aware of a number of regions that are moving into more self-autonomous or arrangements that are more locally empowering, and I'm sure that the efforts of your umbrella group to raise awareness of the needs of the communities, and it bubbles up as a grassroots movement, is probably a stepping stone that you've played in that path, because people are becoming more aware that local is critical to people's enterprise.
Yes, we were based out of an area which is largely indigenous, and it was nice to see that this, let's say, colonialism is dying out. It hasn't died out. There's still prejudice, and there's still this and that, but the government has enacted laws of equality. And this is really good. It's great, and of course we don't see the racial differences. Maybe I don't have the same prejudices. I spent a lot of years abroad, and we don't have the same disdain, let's say, for our local people as some of the Guatemala city dwellers, and we were able to work together side by side, and we were just one people. And yes, there's been a lot of movements that have favored them. Number one, there was a woman that won the Nobel Peace Prize. Her name is Rigoberta Menchú, and she was indigenous, and her family was killed by the government doing this or doing that in the Civil War, and because of her getting that notoriety, a lot of laws have changed because she's got the eye of the public.
Yes.
And anytime she comes in, there's CNN and there's Al Jazeera and there's so filming her. So whatever arguments that she may have resonate outside of Guatemala, and I'm really happy to see that everybody should deal with each other in a more equal basis than we're doing as human beings.
Oh, that's great. Well, Ivan, that's great that you could share your time with us. And I particularly wanted to interview you because you're a local here in Cabarita, where I live, but you also have a global perspective, which is what I want to take through to the convention. Is we live locally, but we live in a global world where we can transcend what divides us and accelerate what unites us. And you're an exemplar of someone who's aging beautifully, enterprisingly, and engagingly. Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good man.
Kind of you. Thank you.
That's it.